That boy good. David Morrell catches a body in the first round. A guy who beat Chavez Jr. in Mexico just got bodied by David Morrell main event. And we're going to talk about that. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Listen, this is your one-stop shop for all your boxing needs. Let's jump into the content. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. David Morrell out of Cuba. David Morrell Jr. He's a junior. That boy good. I just watched him on Fox PBC. Mind you, the whole card was fire. They had a cruiserweight fight, a Poochie, the David Morrell. It was just a very easy watch for your viewing pleasure. Shout out to Fox. And this is the day after PBC and Showtime put on another card with Gervonta Tank Davis that was cracked. So they have a twofer. Now, David Morrell Jr., main event. His second home is Minneapolis. He's defected to America. And Ego Stradamus strikes again. I told you about this guy multiple times on the channel. You see it on the screen. I told you this was not my opinion. This was a quote. He was getting praised, and his trainer, or one of his trainers, compared him to like a Lomachenko with a lot of power. He says he has an amateur pedigree. He can move, he can dance, he can showboat, but he has more power. You see my video on the screen. It says Cuban boxer, quote, and I had the quote, David Morrell says he's the Lomachenko with power for his weight class. This is at 168 super middleweight, the division that David Benavidez is at, Caleb Plant is at, and of course, Canelo Alvarez, Iowa's born ready, Edgar Berlanga and stuff. So I told you about this guy. You guys see it, 10 months ago. You guys can see I was warning you that he was coming. Now that time is here. Now, if you stick around to the end of this video, I will show you some screen caps from the fight tonight. I can't show you and air the fight for obvious reasons, copyright reasons, but I'll show you guys some screen caps. So make sure you stay tuned to the second half of this video. Now, Fox, PBC, Showtime, they're doing a hell of a job. You see their caption, David Morrell is one bad man. It was such a nasty knockout. And you guys can see, he turned him into the Air Jordan logo. Crazy. Keep in mind, this opponent, Cazares, is kind of a cagey. He wasn't really known for having power, but he looked bigger than David Morrell. He comes from an amateur background. He comes from Mexico. So, Mexico has birthed a lot of prime tough fighters, and, it's a fight capital. This man, David Morrell, is looking scary. He doesn't have many fights. He's freakishly calm, like we've seen from a lot of the Cuban boxers. And the thing that separates David Morrell Jr. from some Cuban fighters, when they are so studied in the martial art or the sweet science of boxing, some of them become almost like so technical that some people complain too much defense, too much movement, picking their shots too much. This man, David Morrell Jr., that you see on the screen, gives you a little bit of everything. So he's more in line with the guys like Rigondeaux. He's more in line with Erislandy Lada's last performance, not like some of the other Erislandy fights. Luis King Kong Ortiz, like that kind of Cuban where he has that aggression and he has this serious mean streak, and he just zapped this man he shot a double left, which was crazy. And it just looks beautiful. It has the Roy Jones kind of razzle dazzle. He's a clean cut looking brother. So this man is a beast. Watch this knockout. Watch this knockout. Flush. Bang. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Look at this punch. Right on the button. The man, look, he's out. He's like, where am I? Am I in Minneapolis? How are you doing? Lights out. And he fell so crazy. I hope he's okay. He was just feeding the fastball in. And the crazy thing is, this fight was looking real, like it was looking like it was going to get real cagey. Cazares was trying to make it a rough fight, and the commentators were bragging, saying he will clinch if he needs to. He's like a rough and tumble kind of veteran that chooses to box. You know, he doesn't have a traditional, like, aggressive style, like plotting, come forward, that type of style, right? And they were talking about how he's willing to make it rough and ugly, you know, rabbit punch, cagey, and then sequences later, he gets blasted out and he's put out in the first round and made it a short night for everybody. This is what everybody sees, and this is just, and I'm not trying to say this to berate Shakur Stevenson, but this is a comparison of what I'm talking about. This guy has an amateur pedigree like Shakur Stevenson, and this is why I was saying that Shakur's last performance was anticlimactic. You know what I mean? Because if Top Rank gets guys like that African dude that he fought, and they're not considered to be on that level, and Shakur is farther in his pro career, plus the deep amateur background, people are going to expect more, like what David Morrell Jr. just did. Like, this is a guy that beat Julio Cesar Chavez, right? He was undefeated until tonight. And not only that, he was talking a lot of trash. And he to me, he looked actually bigger than Morrell. But this is the guy that beat Chavez Jr. So Chavez Jr., son of a Mexican legend, he fought him in Mexico, and this guy got like 60 bouts, you know, probably 50 something bouts at the point where he fought Cazares, and he lost to him in Mexico, and Chavez Jr. said it was a headbutt. So Chavez Jr., you know, Danny Jacobs, Anderson, Spider Silva, and Cazares, these are recent losses. But this is a guy that handed him a loss, and Chavez Jr. looked like he wanted a way out. So this is a guy who's been known to frustrate people. He could frustrate you and, you know, make you want to check out with his style. Plus, he was talking crazy to everybody. He said, look, boom, make sure you smash the like button. I dropped the illest content in world boxing. Mario Cazares, he says, I'll knock the freckles off of Canelo. So he was making these statements to high profile people. If I'm not mistaken, you guys could do your independent research. I'll show you what he said about Canelo, but you got Google that. Like Wilder said, Google that ish. You guys could do some of the footwork. But if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, Cazares was saying stuff to Canelo. He was talking bad about David Benavidez. He was saying he'll beat Edgar Berlanga. I think he even said he's the boogeyman, and the man got torched by David Morrell Jr., who doesn't even have many fights, you know? As of me recording this video, he's 4-0. Look, that was his 5th fight, I guess. His 5th fight. And he got torched like crazy. So this is what he said about Canelo. It says, Mario Cazares has used his win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. as a platform to offer up a Canelo fight, right? It says, I guess he beat Canelo in the amateurs too. It says, Canelo, I left you crying once, but now I'll put you to sleep. He said, go to sleep. Die. Right? I highlighted it for you. Canelo, I left you crying once. And this is when they were amateurs, I guess. I guess he has a win over Canelo Alvarez. I'm going to knock the freckles off of Canelo's face. They're going to be scattered in the ring. And I'm going to tell a janitor to lend us a dustpan, and to his coach, Eddie Reynoso, to pick up Canelo's freckles. I am a natural 168 pounder, but with Canelo, we would fight in whatever division that he wants. I am not going to put conditions, because whatever weight it is, we are going to beat him. I am interested in knocking the freckles off Canelo, and Eddie Reynoso will pick them up. Woo! He was talking greasy, and he just got put out disgustingly in the first round. Let's get it. So in addition to talking slick to Canelo and David Benavidez, Berlanga, and all the super middleweights, basically, this is some of the clips from the fight. David Morrell is a real life beast, a reigning terror. So again, he got a clean cut look. The thing I like about David Morrell is he got swag too. Like when he's out in the ring, he had his hands low. He hit the dude with the left, like real Roy Jones-esque. Dropped his hands and then walked forward and hit him with another left, and he stuffed it in so crazy, pause, but he stuffed the punch in so violently and crazy that, let's see if I can, So he has slickness too, but he likes aggression, right? Boom. He caught him right there. Bow. And then you see Cazares' legs buckle and he dipped low, right? And David Morrell Jr. seen he got a reaction out of Cazares from that punch, and he had him hurt. And I think he was really buzzed. You see him stagger, boom, he's back, right? And he noticed he had staggered, and he's seen, and look, people like David Morrell, you could tell they have amateur pedigree because it gets to a point where, look at his feet. He got a wide stance, which is good for generating power, and they're in a position with good balance to throw. And this is indicative of a lot of Cubans in the Cuban school. They teach you a lot about footing and movement and ring generalship and how to place your punches. So he clipped him with that, right? And he got his lead foot forward. It got the reaction. So he said, why not? Let's try that again. And he did a double left. So Cazares regained his footing. And then you see an aggressive Morrell step to him. He steps to him and he duplicates what he did. Boom. You see? Bam, on the button. Like it's surgical. What did Denzel say? Yeah, you know I'm surgical with this bit. Jake, I need my money, Jake. He hit him with the surgery. So you got what you came for. Surgery with the chainsaw. That DMX stuff. Look. Step to him, bow. Rock-a-bye, baby. And he tumbles. See, look at how the man fell right there. Look at his leg. Wow. He fell, no control of his body. That's usually not a good indication. That usually indicates the fighter is out. And you could tell it was a nasty knockout because the commentators, Brian Kinney or one of them, said that Morrell went to, show some good sportsmanship. And he says, and to give his condolences to Cazares. Like, who says condolences like somebody died? You know what I'm saying? And this is the aftermath. Look at like the Jordan logo. What I tell y'all, see, subscribe to the channel. We break down the fights. I give it to you real, uncut and raw. Look at his eyes. The man has true power. This is a real threat at super middleweight. Boom. On the button. He took it and he was out. Lights out. David Morrell Jr. is a bad man. Look, he watched him go down. He was out. Job done. Job finished. Look, you can see his face. Look at his face. You can see the conviction. You can see he put everything, and he doubled up on the leg. It's beautiful. He's surgical. Nice knockout, Very good main event. And he didn't play with his food. See, when he seen Cazares was trying to clinch and make it rough, it's like it turned him into a different monster. Look, he's walking over his body and stuff, and it turned him into another monster. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna fight fire with fire. He want to play rough. You want to play rough? Okay. Say hello to my little friend. And then he just turned the monster on. Job finished. Beast. Told y'all to check for this kid. And I think he's only 22. He's only 22. Shout out to Fox PBC. He's only 22. That kid's a monster. I like that. I know a monster when I see it. Obviously there's still going to be questions about his chin and stuff like that. And as he steps up, but even David Benavidez was on Instagram and said Cazares was talking trash and, he got knocked the heck out. Good punch, good knockout. So David Benavidez is peeping, and David Benavidez, he's a top dude, 2-time champion, stuff like that. So people are peeping that he's on the scene. I love to see it. I love to see fighters progression like this. Morrell looks like the goods. I've been telling y'all. His son, cute kid. Let's go. Shout out to David Morrell Jr. Let me know what you guys think of the card. That cruiserweight fight was crazy as well. Crazy. Subscribe to the channel. I drop the illest content in YouTube regarding boxing. My name is Ego and One Man Army. Appreciate all the support. The Tank fight was lit. PBC holding the crown, like with great knockouts and action fights and, back to back. It looked like to be honest, David Morrell in Minneapolis, it looked like a bigger crowd than what they said Lomachenko did. Lomachenko Nakatani was 2,075 people. The venue he was at holds 5,000-6,000. So it looked like he had a bigger crowd than Lomachenko. So definitely a future star. Look at how he just fed him. He just fed that left. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous southpaw. Write this name down. He putting lights out. He only got, that's his 5th fight, people. And he was supposed to fight an Eddie Hearn fighter, John Ryder. And I told you that John Ryder wanted no smoke. Caleb Smith, I thought he lost to John Ryder. But Eddie Hearn knew better. And if I'm wrong, then Eddie Hearn can make the fight with David Morrell still, because that still would be a good fight. John Ryder, he's solid, but he lost to Billy Joe Saunders. He will lose to David Morrell. I would put money. Morrell Jr. would ice him. He's like 5'10". He's kind of flat-footed, you know, at least for like some of the American or Cuban style, like that get on their toes and bounce. It would be ugly, you know, it would be ugly. And I think Eddie Hearn, look at this man's face, bro. Look, it's over. He was out before he hit the mat off of a left. Look at his eyes, look. Do you see what I see? Bro, he's in night-night. Ready to go night-night? You ever had your muffin cap peeled back blue? Man, John Ryder would have got the business, in my honest opinion. And look at, he got his hands down, Roy Jones style. Like what? What's good? Y'all must have forgot. I'm hype off David Morrell. Let me know. Man, he fed him. Disgusting. Fed him. He ate his supper. And he felt crazy. I hope Cazares is okay. David Morrell, he's a beast. I'm a beast too. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. David Morrell Jr., remember the name. That's all I got to say. Peace out. Deuces.